Can you believe it? I moved to Montenegro, a corner of Europe where I live on just 490 USD a month. Here I rent a seaside apartment for only 220 USD, sip a fragrant $1 coffee by the Bay of Kotor, and best of all, income from the US is not taxed. Yes, that's right. A beautiful slice of Europe where the sea hugs the mountains and the cost of living is cheaper than a week's groceries in America. But this opportunity won't last forever. Prices are changing, and visa policies could tighten at any moment. If you don't look into it today, tomorrow might already be too late. And there are 4 other countries also opening their arms to welcome you. With costs so low it feels unreal. Countries where you don't just live cheaper, but live better, welcomed and valued. Like and subscribe now so we can explore them together. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 5. Montenegro. The Black Mountain Gate opening to the Adriatic. People still call Montenegro the Black Mountain, a name that sounds both mysterious and powerful, like a forgotten European fairy tale. But when you set foot here, you realize it's not just a name, but a lifestyle, where the blue sea embraces the high mountains, where time drifts slowly like an old melody, and where an American retiree can live a full and peaceful life on just about 490 USD per month. In New York or Los Angeles, 490 USD barely covers utilities plus a few grocery trips. Yet in Montenegro, with that same amount, you can rent a small apartment in Budva, just a few minutes walk from the beach, for around 250 USD month. Shop at local markets brimming with fresh fish, vegetables, and cheese for only 80 USD month. Get stable internet for 15 USD, take the bus all month for 20 USD, and still have enough left to sip a $2 local wine or join a weekend yoga class for 10 USD. Add in basic health insurance, pet care, and small extras, and the total still comes to only about 490 USD. A number that sounds like a joke, but is in fact the reality for thousands of expats. Montenegro is also appealing because it doesn't demand too much of you. In the US, each month you count every pension dollar, worrying about taxes and insurance. But here the government only asks that you have a stable income from retirement or online work. You can apply for temporary residency from day 1, after 5 years switch to permanent residency, and after another 5 years, you qualify for citizenship. No requirement to buy million-dollar property, no endless paperwork headaches, just a willingness to stay and live. And what satisfies many Americans most, U.S. income is not taxed again in Montenegro. I still remember the story of Mr. Richard, an American man in his 60s whom I met in Kotor. He used to be a teacher in Ohio, retiring with a Social Security check of about 1,400 USD month. In the U.S., he said, the cost of medicine plus utilities ate up nearly everything, leaving little to enjoy. On a trip to Europe, he stopped in Montenegro and rented a small seaside apartment for 230 USD month. After 3 months, he decided to apply for residency right away. Here, I live on less than 500 USD, and every morning I drink a $1 coffee by the bay, watching wooden boats drift lazily. It feels like my life is finally beginning, he said with a gentle smile, proudly showing me his little balcony garden. Just $5 for seeds that flourished all summer long. Of course, Montenegro is not a perfect paradise. Public hospitals can feel outdated, and you often have to pay out of pocket. About 30–40% of total medical costs. For major surgeries, many people choose to go to Croatia or Serbia. Transportation isn't always punctual either. Buses may arrive 15 minutes late, as if to remind you, No one's in a hurry here. And during tourist season, prices rise like music at a festival. Tomatoes sometimes double in price simply because Western tourists are willing to pay. Even the citizenship by investment program, once loudly promoted, now feels uncertain. An enticing promise that no one can say for sure will hold. Yet it's precisely these cracks that make Montenegro lovable. It isn't polished like an artificial resort, but a real country with its own rhythm. Lively in summer, quiet in winter. And thanks to those little inconveniences, you learn to laugh them off, to live slower. Because if everything were perfect, perhaps you'd grow bored. But when there are small flaws, the place begins to feel like an old friend. Not perfect, but genuine and trustworthy. And now, let me share with you a few money-saving tips in Montenegro that expats often use. Rent long-term or live outside the city center. It can be up to 70% cheaper than during tourist season. Shop at farmers markets instead of supermarkets. Vegetables, fresh fish, and cheese are both tastier and cheaper. Use buses, walk, or bike. It saves money and lets you enjoy the scenery. Take advantage of free activities, hiking, strolling by the sea, outdoor concerts. Learn a few phrases in Montenegrin. Sometimes just a simple greeting in the local language earns you a friendlier price. Always keep track of expenses. It may seem small, but it helps you keep your budget under control. Montenegro, with mountains embracing the sea, with ancient stone villages and colorful local markets, with a cost of living at just 490 USD a month, has become a gateway to freedom for American retirees. No need to prove too much. No one asks how much is in your bank account. Just being yourself is enough to be welcomed. And if one day you ask yourself, am I really living or just existing? The answer may be waiting for you somewhere along the Adriatic coast, in the sound of waves and a $1 coffee on a quiet street corner in Montenegro. Leave any comment you like. Share the places you want to go, or even point out what I might have gotten wrong. I'm happy for that, and I'm grateful to you. 4. Vietnam. A dynamic economy. Amid beautiful chaos. If Montenegro makes you think of a slow rhythm along the Adriatic, then Vietnam is a completely different symphony. Fast, lively, full of energy. And yet, strangely, within that chaos hides a very unique peace. Retired Americans often describe Vietnam in two contrasting words: loud but lovable. And the amazing part is that to live here, you only need about 490 USD per month, a number hard to believe compared to what this country offers. In Saigon or Hanoi, an office worker can live comfortably on about 300 USD a month. For expats, the average monthly cost is around 415 USD excluding rent. A one-bedroom apartment in the city center costs about 500-600 USD, but just a bit further out, prices drop to 250-350 USD. And the food in Vietnam? Absolutely delicious. Many travelers never forget the flavors after tasting them. Local food is so cheap, it feels unbelievable. A steaming bowl of pho with beef and herbs for just 1 USD. A rich iced coffee with condensed milk for only 0.80 USD. And a full seafood feast for 2 right on Da Nang's beach for just 15 USD. On the other hand, if you want American cereal or French cheese, be ready to pay even more than back home. A box of cheese sometimes costs more than a movie ticket. This perfectly reflects the contrast of Vietnam's economy. Extremely cheap for local goods, but imported products are luxuries to the point of being almost comical. An American expat I met in Hoi An once joked, "Here, I live like a king with vegetables, pho, and fresh seafood. But when I crave a box of Kellogg's, I have to think twice like I'm buying gold. Visas in Vietnam are also easy and flexible. You can apply for 3-month, 6-month, or 1-year visas at low cost, with processing taking just a few days. For those with family ties, there's even a 5-year visa exemption. These policies make Vietnam one of the most breathable destinations for Americans who want to try long-term living. And if you want to invest, foreigners can buy apartments in certain projects, or even establish a company with paperwork that takes only 3 to 4 weeks. It's nowhere near as complicated as in many other countries where people often give up halfway. As for healthcare, Vietnam has a fairly extensive public system. An annual general checkup costs just $80-90 USD, and common medicine is so cheap that many expats say they no longer worry when buying it. For higher-end services, many choose international private hospitals in Hanoi, Saigon, or Da Nang, still many times cheaper than in the US, but with modern quality and English-speaking doctors. A Vietnamese-American friend told me he once had a full heart exam for just 85 USD, while in Florida it would have cost 200 USD. But Vietnam doesn't hide its real face. Traffic here is like a never-ending river of motorbikes, especially in Saigon and Hanoi. About 90% of traffic accidents involve motorcycles, and you'll have to learn how to cross the street like a tightrope walker, walking straight, slowly, letting the traffic flow around you. Newcomers sweat nervously, while long-term residents see it as part of the art of urban living. Air pollution in major cities is also an issue, pushing many expats to live in Da Nang, Nha Trang, or Hoi An, where the sea is blue, the air cleaner, and the lifestyle gentler. Nature in Vietnam needs no introduction. 3/4 of the country is mountains, stretching from the misty rice terraces of Sapa to the majestic stone highlands of Ha Giang, and down to the white sand beaches of Phu Quoc. You can hike in a national park in the morning and swim in the Central Coast by afternoon. The landscape is so diverse that with just a short flight, it feels like stepping into a whole new country. I'll never forget the story of John, a former American soldier in his 70s returning to Vietnam after decades. This time, he carried no army backpack, only a small suitcase and his 1,500 USD monthly pension. He rented a small apartment in Da Nang for 250 USD a month, living comfortably with expenses of about 450-480 USD. Every morning, he had a $1 bowl of PHO, then rode his motorbike along the coast. Back then, I came here for war. Now I return to find peace. And strangely, the land that once gave me painful memories is now giving me a happy old age. He smiled, lifted his iced coffee, and added, "In America, 500 USD only covers car insurance. Here it gives me a whole month of life." Of course, Vietnam isn't perfect. You'll have to get used to honking traffic, dust during rush hour, and imported goods with prices that make you shake your head. But within those inconveniences, you'll find lessons. Learning flexibility, learning to laugh when lost, and learning to savor joy from small things, like a steaming bowl of pho on a rainy afternoon. Vietnam is not like the peaceful Montenegro. It's like a vibrant painting, with bright colors and dark strokes, fine lines and bold ones. And it's precisely this contrast that people love. With 490 USD a month, you don't just live cheaply. You live truly, vividly, in an energetic economy where tomorrow always promises to be different from today. And what about you? If just 500 USD could give you a whole new life in Vietnam, loud but friendly, chaotic but full of opportunity, would you dare to try? Comment, "I'm ready," so I know you're also thinking of a new beginning. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe to discover retirement places and join me on more surprising journeys ahead. 3. Mauritius, the island of stability and attractive taxes. People often call Mauritius the island of scents, where the breeze carries the salt of the sea mixed with the fragrance of vanilla and Creole spices, making anyone who sets foot here feel embraced. On the map, Mauritius is just a tiny dot in the vast Indian Ocean, yet for many retired Americans, it becomes a whole new universe, far enough to leave behind familiar stress, but close enough to feel warmly welcomed. And the miracle is, you can live comfortably here on just $480–490 USD a month, a sum that in the US sometimes only covers a single week's rent. In the center of the capital, Port Louis, a one-bedroom apartment rents for about $600–750 USD a month, but if you step back into the suburbs or quieter coastal towns, the price drops to just $350–500 USD. Food is even more forgiving. A morning market run, freshly caught fish, a few golden mangoes, fragrant herbs, and warm bread adds up to less than $90 USD a month if you enjoy cooking at home. Stable, fast internet costs $15 USD. Transportation by bus or taxi is around $15 USD a month. Add in basic health insurance for $25 USD and small extras like $15 USD for pet care or $10 USD to send gifts back to the US, and your monthly total stays right around $480–490 USD. Matching a neat little number that's easy to remember, easy to compare, and often makes people laugh. In America, I can't even cover my electricity bill with that. Mauritius's tax system is like a gift for those living off pensions or foreign investments. Both personal and corporate income tax are set at 15%, and if your money comes from foreign dividends or interest, you only pay 20% of that amount. In other words, U.S. income sent here remains safe, not eaten away a second time. No inheritance tax, no capital gains tax. A friend of mine once joked, "Just not having to think about taxes makes my heart feel a few years younger." Visas aren't complicated either. Americans are usually stamped right at the airport, staying 60 days without needing to prepare anything. If you want to live long-term, there are plenty of options, from work permits for online professionals to investor permits if you put in $50,000 USD to start a business, or $375,000 USD into a real estate project. These permits can last up to 10 years and later open the path to permanent residency. So if you have some capital, Mauritius is like throwing the doors wide open. Come in, the blue sea and golden sun are already waiting. Public health care in Mauritius is free, but it's like a home-style meal. It will fill you up but doesn't feel refined. Foreigners and wealthier locals usually choose private hospitals, with insurance costing about $70–350 USD a month, in exchange for better service quality, European-trained doctors, and modern facilities. I once met Mrs. Helen, a retired nurse from Florida, who told me she used to worry about healthcare before moving here. But after having a full heart checkup for just $90 USD, she laughed. In the US, that amount wouldn't even cover hospital parking. Social security here is also like a coin with two sides. Most locals and expats find Mauritius peaceful. Petty theft isn't common. Violent crime is rare. But there are occasional warnings. Pickpockets in crowded markets, a few snatch-and-grab incidents, or reckless drivers on winding mountain roads. Locals like to joke, "Here, cars run on. Faith." And you'll understand when you see a taxi swerving across lanes without even checking the mirror. Yet once you step past those worries, the beauty of Mauritius shines vividly. Endless stretches of white sand beaches, the ocean so blue it looks naturally photoshopped. The majestic volcanic peak of Le Morne stands tall like a gatekeeper. while the seven-colored earth of Chamaril feels like stepping into a painting. The tropical climate offers year-round sunshine. There are seasonal storms, but they come quickly, leave just as fast, and clear the sky to a perfect blue. The people are friendly, always starting conversations with food. Have you tried Creole chicken curry yet? And from there, a new friendship begins. Of course, Mauritius is not a flawless paradise. Nightlife is limited, public health care is still lacking, and compared to the average local income, just over $600 month, expat costs remain relatively high. But that, in turn, reminds you that you are a guest. And with $490, you live like royalty compared to many locals. Mauritius, with all its strengths and shortcomings, remains a stable oasis in a turbulent world. It's not flashy, not loud, but welcoming enough to make you feel you belong. And when you look back at the figure of $490 per month, you may find yourself asking, could it be that my dream life fits neatly on a small island in the middle of the ocean? 2. North Macedonia. A surprisingly affordable destination. People call North Macedonia a hidden gem of Europe. Small, landlocked, and not crowded with tourists. But it's exactly this simplicity that makes it an ideal place for Americans retiring on a modest pension. Here, with just $490 month, you not only have enough to live, but also enjoy a slow-paced European lifestyle untouched by commercialization. In Skopje, the most expensive city, the rent for a central apartment is only about $294 month. Shopping at local markets for vegetables, cheese, and bread costs just $100 month. Coffee is $1, internet $15, a bus pass $10, and a doctor's visit $20. Altogether, it's still cheaper than a utility bill in the US. In New York, $500 barely covers 2 fancy dinners. But in Ohrid, it gives you an entire month of sipping coffee by Europe's oldest lake. Short-term visas are simple too. US and Canadian citizens can stay 15 days without any paperwork. Looking further ahead, the Citizenship by Investment program is even more shocking. Invest around $215,000 to start a business that creates jobs, and in just 2 to 5 months, you can hold a North Macedonian passport. While it's not yet an EU citizenship, the speed makes many expats call it Europe's most unexpected shortcut. The healthcare system is like a young man, dedicated but still inexperienced. A basic checkup is just $20, but for complex procedures, people often go to Greece or Serbia. One American couple shared, "The cost of a minor surgery here was only 1/10 of the US, and the nurse even sang to us while we waited." Have you ever seen that in America? Society here is generally peaceful. The people are kind and welcoming, violent crime is low, and you only need to be cautious when walking at night in the old quarter. But what truly holds visitors and expats is the nature. Lake Ohrid is as clear as glass, while Mavrovo and Pelister National Parks are paradise for those who love hiking and skiing. One remote tech expat said, "In San Francisco, $500 only rents me a desk. Here, the same amount gives me an apartment with a balcony overlooking the lake." Of course, no place is perfect. Transportation can be delayed, bureaucracy can be roundabout, and rural internet can be spotty. But sometimes it's exactly these charming inconveniences that make life feel more real. Instead of staring at screens, you chat with neighbors or listen to elders tell stories of the war. North Macedonia isn't flashy, but it's real, and enough. Like and subscribe, because who knows, one afternoon by Lake Ohrid, you may realize, in America you've been running all your life, but here you finally learn how to stop. 1. Indonesia. the archipelago of blue seas and volcanoes. Indonesia feels like a universe of its own with over 17,000 islands, each with a different shade of life. Romantic Bali, wild Lombok, coral sparkling Raja Ampat, and Bromo, the volcano that still breathes smoke. For American retirees, what makes this country special isn't just its natural beauty, but the incredibly affordable cost of living. Just about $450–490 USD month for a comfortable lifestyle. In Jakarta, a central apartment rents for around 389 USD month, while in the suburbs it's only about 237 USD. Food is unbelievably cheap. A plate of nasi goreng fried rice for 1.50 USD, specialty coffee for less than 1 USD, fresh seafood markets where a few dollars cover the whole meal. Add internet for 15 USD, transport for 20 USD, and a basic doctor's visit for 25 USD. All still wrapped neatly around 480 USD month. That's a number which, in the US, I might barely cover a week's worth of gas. Short-term visas are easy. Visa on arrival gives you 30 days, extendable for another 30. But if you want to stay long-term, the process is more complicated. A work permit, KITAS, requires a local company sponsor and plenty of paperwork. People often joke, in Indonesia, if you want to stay long-term, you need patience, like someone climbing a volcano. As for buying land or gaining citizenship, very difficult. Laws are strictly restrictive, so many expats choose long-term rentals instead of dreaming about ownership. So what does Indonesia give back in return? Nature. You can watch dolphins in the morning, climb Kawah Ijen in the afternoon to see the Emerald Crater Lake, and spend weekends diving among the corals of Raja Ampat. Even the rainy season carries a sense of mystery, as if the sky itself were testing your patience before rewarding you with a rainbow. And what about you? With less than 500 USD month, would you dare trade for a life between seas and volcanoes, where every day feels like an adventure? Comment, I want to try, if Indonesia is calling your name. So we've just journeyed through 5 amazing destinations. From the Adriatic coast of Montenegro, the vanilla-scented breezes of Mauritius, the peaceful Lake Ohrid of North Macedonia, to the vibrant energy of Vietnam and the dazzling seas and volcanoes of Indonesia. With just about 490 USD a month, you can not only live cheaper, but live more fully. So if it were you, which country would you choose to begin your new journey? Share your answer in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to discover retirement places, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next adventures. Dream it. Pack it. Go. See you in the next video.